Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, a show chocked full of strategies for scaling your speaking business. Now here's your host, coach to the industry superstars, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I am excited to have back to the show a longtime friend, speaker, singer, radio show host, all-round entertainer, my friend, Dr. Willie Jolley. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure, as always, to be on with you on the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. And all that you are doing is so fantastic. So thank you for inviting me back again.
Well, I am excited because you have a new book out, and this title, of course, I'm all over it. Rich is good, wealthy is better. Let's just launch right in and talk to me
Okay.
about what you mean rich versus wealthy. Tell me what the difference is.
Okay. So the difference is, first of all, it's a profound difference.
Okay.
And and the profundity is something that I found escaped me, and I believe escapes most people. So when I saw you had the wealthy speaker, I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure I shared with your listeners and your viewers that this is not a small difference between being rich and wealthy. Now,
Okay.
let me give you context.
Okay.
For 20 years, this is my 20th season being on Sirius XM,
Yes.
hosting the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show.
Okay.
And in those 20 seasons, I've interviewed some of the greatest wealth creators of this time. David
Mhm.
Rubenstein, the billionaire, Bill Marriott, um, Dave Stewart, $15 billion a year income, um, Ted Leonsis, Steve Case, founder of AOL, Mark Randolph, co-founder of Netflix, one after another of these billionaires and then multimillionaires.
Okay.
And I kept interviewing these folks. And one day, the light bulb went above my head and said, hold up, there's a difference between being rich and wealthy. And I don't know what it is. Now, I'm an
Mm.
educated man, Jan. I got an earned doctorate degree, but I
Yeah.
did not know the difference between being rich and wealthy. I said, maybe I'm the outlier. Everybody else knows the answer, but I'm the one who just didn't get it. I
Uh-huh.
missed that memo. So what I started doing was to interview people around the country, doing a survey saying, let me ask you a question. What to you is rich? And that's everybody has the same answer. It's like 100% same answer, $1 million. You got $1 million, you rich. Okay, great. Then if $1 million is rich, what's wealthy? And
Uh-huh.
then they'll look up in the air, they kind of look around like they're thinking, and they say, well, I guess it's 5 million, 10 million, a billion. I said, okay, is that the only difference between being rich and wealthy in your book? And they'll say, yeah, that's it. And I had been of the same thought that the difference was a size difference, that it was the
Okay.
difference between being a pony and being a horse. But it's
Okay.
really more like being a zebra and being a horse. They're two different species, and many people don't know that. So
Okay.
I started going back to these people, these millionaires and billionaires I'd interviewed. I call them on the phone and say, here's what I'm thinking. Am I right or wrong? Oh, you're absolutely right. There's a
Mm.
difference between being rich and wealthy, and it's profound. I said, wow. That's when I started writing the book, Jane.
Okay.
It's to teach people the difference between being. That's the first group this book appeals to. The second group the book appeals to or is focused on are all the people who worked hard all their lives, who've scrimped, saved, sacrificed, and lived below their means so they could create a nest egg. And their concern is that their children will squander their money once they die.
Mm.
That they'll, as one man said, my greatest fear, Dr. Jolly, is that my children will not treat my money like I've treated it. And they will go through in months what it took me decades and decades and decades to grow and build.
Mm.
So let's go back to your original question. What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy? Well, it's not the amount of money. It's not even the size of the amount of money. It's how the money is generated.
Oh,
Rich is the result of money that you make from what you do. Whatever
okay.
it is you do for a living, you can get rich. Whether you're an athlete, a basketball player, football player, baseball player, singer, rapper, dancer, artist, whatever you do, that you go and you give a service or some activity for, and you get a lot of money for it, you're rich.
Okay.
Wealthy is money you make from what you own. Or
Mm.
as Chris Rock said, Shaq is rich. The owner of the team is wealthy.
Okay.
Okay. And he said, if the owner of the team woke up one day and had Shaq's money, he'd kill himself.
Okay.
So that's the basic. Here's how I put it in a nice little basket.
Okay.
Rich is the money from what you do. Wealthy is the money you make from what you own.
Right.
That's it.
That's
And
good.
and one more thing. Rich is money that you make during the day. Wealthy is money you make while you sleep at night.
Yeah, I was just thinking trading time for money.
Yes.
As a professional speaker, there are only
Yep.
so many dates on the calendar,
Yep.
only so many days you can be in the air traveling.
Yep.
And once you have your year booked up, your income is capped
Yep.
unless you have other things on the go. I remember years ago, our mutual friend Joe Calloway, he got involved in like a real estate consortium. And so he owned real estate and had a portfolio outside of speaking. And that was going to be something that his legacy would be.
He at that point he became wealthy.
Yes.
Now, here's one more thing. Many people will think, and it's so interesting. When you ask people about wealth, they'll say, in my opinion. Whenever somebody says, in my opinion, about a item, that
Hmm.
means that there's no definitive answer that they are aware of. They don't say, in my opinion, gravity is.
Right.
No. Okay. They know exactly. If I walk off of this bridge, step off, gravity is going to take effect.
Yes.
But they'll say, in my opinion, wealth is being happy. Wealth is being
Right.
loved by your family. Well, some of that is true. In the book, I talk about there are five types of wealth. The
Okay.
first type of wealth we all speak of, we think of is financial, because
Hmm.
that's the one. But then there's health wealth.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy, what good is all the money?
Right.
The Dalai Lama said that he is amazed at all the people who work to make a lot of money, and then they give up their health for the money, and then they
Hmm.
have to spend all their money to try and regain their health.
Right.
So
Isn't it?
you got to have health. So
Yep.
financial health, then relationship wealth.
Yes.
What good is wealth if you got to enjoy it only by yourself? And
Or
then the next one is reputational wealth. What do the people say about you in the marketplace that
mm,
can open doors for you or shut doors for you, depending on your reputation?
that's right.
And then the final one is intellectual capital wealth. What do you know? What is it in your brain that is of value that can make your life better, make your family's life better, and can create more revenues for you? So those are the five types of wealth. And then there are five money mindsets that I talk about in the book.
Yeah,
The
I want to
first,
talk to you
oh
about
yeah,
mindset
yeah,
because in
yes,
my mind, when I think about my definition of wealthy, I think about having health and the relationships and doing all the things that make you happy, bringing joy to you.
Right.
Um, we're all about the balanced wealthy speaker lifestyle.
Yes.
But one of the key pieces that I didn't even get, Willie, until 2020, the beginning of COVID, I went and got certified in a very specific type of mindset training. And that has been a major game changer. And not
Mm.
only do you think that one, talk about why you think, what are some of the mental barriers you think that people um, have? Like, talk to me about mindset and how important it is. And then I want you to tell us about the 5 money mindsets.
Sure, sure. Wealth starts in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Yeah.
Wealth starts in your mind. And so it is your mindset that will create your wealth or your mindset that will create your lack thereof. It is a
Mm-hmm.
mindset. And you must understand the power of that mindset and why it is so critical to your wealth creation. As you said, 2020, we learned that the world was changed forever.
Yeah.
And we as speakers, I remember very clearly March the 9th, 2020, the world changed. I had a full calendar. My calendar is over here, as you might can see. It
Mhm.
was, I keep it over here. It was full of speeches. I was booked all the way through the year. I was booked solid. I
Right.
had been on the Get Motivated tour. I had replaced Zig Ziglar on the tour. It was me, Les Brown, and get Damon John, and we were doing 2 cities a week. And then from there, my setback set up for a comeback book had spurned on some opportunities. My Attitude of Excellence book had created even more opportunities. Things were popping. I had all of these bookings. People were paying me. I was turning down dates because I had no. I mean, no in offers. 'Cause I had no more dates. As you said, inventory was gone. But I was
Mm-hmm.
doing good. And
Mm-hmm.
everything changed. And that's when I said, I've got to change. And I focused on my XM show, which is something I just did as a sideline
Yeah.
and built it into the number one. It's now the number one self-help show in America, the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. You can hear it on Sirius XM channel 141. It airs Saturdays at 4 o'clock Eastern and replays Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock Eastern. And it's amazing the responses. And then iHeartRadio called and said, we see all of these great guests. We want to know, can we have your show and a podcast on our iHeartRadio, the largest, us and Spotify are the largest, and we got on iHeart, then Spotify, then Apple, then, I mean, all the podcast platforms now have it. So that's when, and then I started getting big sponsors who said, I want to sponsor your show. That's where the wealth started coming in because I could only speak so many
Yes.
times. Okay.
Yeah.
But I was speaking and getting paid. But I do the radio show once and the sponsors pay me for the year.
Mm.
Okay. I'll do a show a week. And I actually only do a show for 8 months out of the year, September to May. And then June, July, August, September is our like a TV station. They play their summer reruns. We play our best of the best of the season. And so I get paid for the year for these shows I do once, and then they go to podcasts, and we got more sponsors there. So
Mhm.
that's when I started saying wealthy. So it's a mindset though. I had to get my brain engaged because I thought rich and wealthy was similar. And once I
Mm.
realized they weren't, that they're two different things, then everything changed. So you're right. Mindset is critically important. And
So
wealth starts in your mind.
yeah, I think the beginning of COVID, a lot of people started to recognize that they had been trading their time for money and that there were limits to that.
Right.
And especially if our industry is disrupted. Okay,
Right.
so in the book, I just want to say the name again because it's so good.
Rich, oh, let me put it up for everybody. They can see it.
Rich,
Rich is
good.
good. Wealthy is better. Rich is good. Wealthy is better.
Okay,
And
you
and
have
you can get, yeah,
you have
and you can get it at you know, you can get it at richesgoodwealthyisbetter.com if you want an
Okay.
autographed copy. We
Oh, yeah.
autograph the ones you get from my office, richesgoodwealthyisbetter.com. I sign it, and you want to get a signed copy because then they become more valuable. I tell people this has been likened to a sequel to Think and Grow Rich. Because
Nice.
see, Think and Grow Rich, what was it? You had Andrew Carnegie gave a guy named a guy who was a writer named Napoleon Hill access to the titans of the time. Edison, Ford, DuPont, Bell, Alexander Graham Bell, and he said, go interview these people who are the biggest business people in the world. And Napoleon Hill took his pad and pencil and went and wrote down all the information, came back and compiled it into a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, for the last 20 years, I've been interviewing the titans of this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been able to compile all that information. And here's what the mindset part is.
Okay.
The different mindsets of money. There are five mindsets. There are five money mindsets that we see in our country. We see every day.
Mm-hmm.
The first mindset is the 1 day mindset. You'll see them in your city. A person standing on a corner with a cardboard box saying, give me enough money to make it through the day. Can you give me enough money to get some food today? And
Yeah.
every day they repeat that cycle. You see them there every day. And they have a 1 day mindset. Give me enough money to get some food and housing for the day. I'll do it again tomorrow. Then you
Okay.
got the 30-day mindset. The people who are on fixed income, often on either retirement or whether it's a social program where they live month to month. And at the end
Paycheck.
of the month, yep, paycheck to paycheck. Then you
Mhm.
get your 1 year mindset. That's the people who we sometimes call them the middle class, who work hard and do a great job. And every year they say, did I get a cost of living raise this year? Am I making more money this year than I made last year? And they're thinking year to year. Then you
Okay.
get the decade mindset,
Okay.
which we typically see with athletes and entertainers. A baseball player will get $100 million contract to play baseball for 10 years.
Right.
And
Right.
for 10 years, oh my gosh, he's balling. He got 5 Mercedes, three Bentleys, 4 mansions, a helicopter, a jet plane. He's got table service when he goes to the nightclub. He is living a great life for 10 years. But
Right.
when that contract ends, if it's not renewed or he gets hurt and he does not modify his lifestyle or her lifestyle, then they're going to be broke. And that is
Right.
why 70% of professional athletes are broke 5 years after retirement because they didn't modify their lifestyle. But
Yeah.
then you get the fifth mindset, which is the generation to generation mindset. And that is the people who are planning and making a way for their children's grandchildren. The Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children's great grandchildren. And
Mm.
so that's what we call generational wealth. That's the
Yes.
wealthy mindset. Now, let me
Oh,
give you an example of that. I interviewed on my show the president of the Dale Carnegie Institute.
okay.
Now, Dale Carnegie wrote a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
And he also started a company that taught people leadership skills and communication skills. So I
Mm-hmm.
asked the president of this company, I said, tell me about Dale Carnegie Institute. He said that we have a franchise model and we have franchisees around the world. I said, okay, what's the annual fee for your franchise? He told me the fee. I said, how many franchisees do you have? He told me the number. I did a quick math calculation. That many people by that much money. Wow, that's a lot of money coming into your organization annually. I said, where can I buy stock for that company? He said, you
Yeah.
can't. He said, you cannot. Why not?
Private.
He said, it's privately owned. I said, what? I said, who owns the company? That's when it blew my mind. He said, the family. And I said, how long have they owned it? He said, 110 years. for almost 5 generations. A generation is thought to be 25 years. For almost 5 generations, the descendants of Dale Carnegie have been able to go to college, have a home, live a comfortable lifestyle because he set it in motion that there would be a system. Now, here's the next part. That is why this second part of this book is so important,
Okay.
because he taught his children, who taught their children
Yeah.
how to keep the golden goose alive, the
Mm-hmm.
goose that laid the golden egg. Here's the problem. Most people, their children do not know how to do it. They either can't hear it from their parents, or their parents are unable to tell them how to keep the golden goose alive. And unfortunately, what happens is their children get an inheritance and they think of it not as a blessing, but as a payday,
Yeah.
as a lottery hit. And so they take that money that their parents scraped and saved and lived below their means and never flew first class and things like that. And these folks are going to get that inheritance. They going first class to Vegas. They got red bottom shoes, and they're going to get the penthouse in Vegas and have table service. And as that man said, my children, I'm afraid my children will go through in months what it took me decades to do. That's why this book is the answer to that problem.
Okay.
Everybody who has a child need one. Oh, look, one guy got the book. I saw him recently. He came up to me and said, "Let me tell you something. I just finished reading that book. I have a new requirement that my children must read this book before they're put in my will.
Yes.
It's required reading for them before they get into my will." Wow. Okay, so that's what we want to say, wealthy speakers. So now, in the book, one more thing I talk about is the 8 streams of income. There's
Okay.
8 ways. Everybody should have at least 2 streams of income.
Sure.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should have it. And I give the 8 streams of income. One of the streams of income is something speakers can do.
Okay.
It is royalties,
Yes.
royalty income. I write a book. I've written numerous books. It only takes a minute to change your life.
How
A
many books?
setback. This is my 6th book,
Okay.
and I got 2 more in the
Hopper.
pipeline that are
Awesome.
coming. So
Okay.
it only takes a minute to change your life. A setback is a set up for a comeback. Turn setbacks into greenbacks. An attitude of excellence. The marriage book my wife and I wrote, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. This new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. A book that's coming called You Can Win Now If You Know How. And then another book called The New Theology of Achievement. So all of these are coming. I get royalties right now somewhere. Jane, right now, somewhere in the world, right now, somebody's buying one of my books. Right now. I don't know where they are. They might be in Ghana. They might be in Nigeria. They might be in South Africa. They might be in Australia. Right now, somebody's buying one of my books. I'll get a royalty payment because of that.
Beautiful.
And I wrote the book one time, but I'm selling it millions and millions of times. So that's one way. Another, let me tell you one more thing. Very important. That I said it earlier, it's not the amount of money you make, it's how the money is generated.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Ellen Pleasant is a person I write about in the book. I write about a number of people in the book like her. Mary Ellen Pleasant was a domestic worker. She never made more than $6,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning people's homes, cooking food for them, and doing their laundry. She never made more than $6,000 a year. But when she died, she had a net worth of $2.5 million.
Wow.
Because she took her money and she did what I'm encouraging everybody to do. Anybody can do this if you got income. Number one, you got to get income. Got to generate money. Then you got to live below your means.
Okay.
All right, live below your means. That creates something called margin. And that margin is the money that you use to invest and to buy insurance. Because wealth is built on 3 legs to a stool: income, investments, and insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And you must have all three if you're going to create wealth that is sustainable, because investments grow your money and insurance protects the the money that you grow.
Mm-hmm. And are you talking life insurance as well, or health
And I'm
insurance?
telling you, life insurance,
Uh,
health insurance,
mhm.
disability insurance,
Yeah.
long-term care insurance. You got to have insurance to create a moat around your money, a force field around your money. So life insurance. If you don't have life insurance and you die, your family can't afford to survive. The money you had in the nest egg is going to dissipate.
Yeah.
Boom. So you gotta have life insurance. Then you gotta have health insurance. Because we all know that it takes one illness to wipe out your savings. So that's why
Yeah.
you gotta have health insurance. Then you gotta have disability insurance so that if you get hit by a car or truck or fall down the steps and you can't work for 6 months, that there's money coming in to take care of your bills. And you don't have to tap into your nest egg. And finally is long-term care insurance. All of those important. They're important. So yes, I'm talking insurance.
Especially
And
for speakers who can't go on the road and trade their
that's
time
right.
even,
That's
right?
right. That's
You can't
right.
do
That's
that.
right.
So, and a lot of those policies will cover you for the big, cancer, et cetera, heart attack, those
Right.
types of things. If they happen
Right.
to you, then you might get a lump sum or you might get a payout that allows you to continue to live while you're going through
And
your.
not dissipate your savings, your
Mhm.
wealth. You don't have to spend, don't have to go and tap all your 401k or whatever. You've got revenues. That's how you. Now, again, let me say this.
Yep.
I am not a financial planner.
Yeah.
I am not a financial advisor. I do not have a degree in finance. I don't consider myself a financial expert, but I'm a
Mhm.
really good listener.
And you
Okay.
study.
I'm a really good listener. And for 20 years, I've sat there and interviewed these wealth creators who are billionaires who started with nothing.
Yes.
All of them, everyone I interviewed started with nothing, and they built billion-dollar revenues, billion-dollar businesses, billion-dollar net worth. And I just took copious notes.
Yep.
I've taken copious notes for 20 years. And that is why I learned about you got to have these three legs. You got to have
Yep.
I didn't come up with it, income, investment, and insurance. So we made sure, my wife and I, we got to make sure we got that. If that's what they're telling us to do and what they do, I'm doing what they do. I don't have to recreate the wheel. So,
Okay, let's go back. We started with royalties as a
yep.
way to
Hmm.
have some income. What
Yep.
else?
Stocks and bonds.
Stocks.
And nowadays it's so much better because you can buy stocks in drips. I mean, a little you don't have years ago you had to buy the whole stock to
Right.
be able to you had to have
Partial.
enough money to invest in a full stock. Well, you don't have to do that anymore.
All
You
right.
can you can get a piece of stock. You can get a small little chunk of stock. There, you can. I'm not gonna promote anybody, but well, I'll use Schwab. You can do it with Schwab. I might as well. Robin Hood. Anyway, here are the different streams of income. Earned
Okay.
income. Earned income, money you make from your job. This is page 168 in the book. 168. By the way, the book is called Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. Everybody needs to have it. Every household needs to have it.
Yes.
Earned income. You make money from your job. Number two is profit income, money generated from buying and selling. For instance, buying a product at wholesale, selling it at retail.
Mm-hmm.
Three, interest income, money generated from loaning money to others.
Mm-hmm.
Four is dividend income, money generated from stocks and bonds and other assets you own that create dividends.
Mm-hmm.
Number five is rental income, money generated from renting to others, whether it's a home, whether it's a car, whether it's a rake, whether it's a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
People are willing to rent from you. Number six, capital gains income, money generated from assets you own that increase in value, such as real estate.
Right.
Number seven, royalty income, money
Right.
generated from your books, music, ideas, or any other intellectual capital. And number 8 is residual income, money generated from an item that you do the work to establish once, but continue to receive an ongoing income from for over time. An example is when I was in college, I sang jingles. And every time the jingle played on the radio, it generated residual income. That was my what we used to call mailbox money. So I would
Right.
sing Pizza Hut making it great, and I was a part of the American Federation of Television Radio Artists called AFTRA, and I got a residual payment
Nice.
for a month. Every time they played that thing, I'd get a little bit, but it come in the mailbox. I'd be so happy. I'm happy. I didn't do anything. I didn't go anywhere. It came. Now it comes in your inbox, in your email. We get a royalty payment comes in there, a residual income.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody can. Hold one more thing. Hold on one thing. Everybody's not going to be rich. Everybody's not going to be rich. The Bible said the poor would be with you always.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody can be wealthy if you're willing to do this. Live below your means, invest in one of these streams of income,
Mm-hmm.
and then have insurance, and then be disciplined. The word is discipline. Discipline enough not to kill the golden goose that lays the golden egg.
Mm.
You do that, you're going to create wealth. And anybody can do that. As long as they get income, investments, insurance, they can do it.
Okay, so people who might be struggling out there right now,
Ye-
just to buy a
Oh,
loaf of
uh-oh. Yep.
bread. People who maybe aren't getting paid because the government is shut down right now.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do we have for them?
First thing I advise them to do is to not panic.
Don't panic.
Now, I know it's easy to say, but in my book, Turn Setbacks into Greenbacks,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to panic, because when you panic, you cannot think clearly. When you
Right.
cannot think clearly, you cannot make wise decisions. And when you cannot make wise decisions, you end up making a poor decision when you have a decision to be made. In 1929, there was a stock market crash. People lost everything. My grandfather lost everything.
Mm.
He was going to kill himself, but he had a daughter, my mother. And he said, I cannot leave this child with a father, without a father. But
Mm.
some people did kill themselves. They jumped off of bridges. They made poor choices. And they didn't stay around to see that the market came back bigger and better than ever. Don't panic. That's number one. You have to think your way through this process.
Okay.
If you're in a struggling moment, I've been in that struggling moment. I've been in a moment where I've lost my job. I had 2 children who were dependent on me, and my wife was not making enough to support the family. I was the main breadwinner. I've been in that moment where I was despondent, but I decided to not panic. And I was fired from my job as a nightclub singer, singing in nightclubs, and I took a job as a drug prevention coordinator, talking to little kids about staying away from drugs. And I discovered an ability I didn't know.
Mm.
And I started thinking maybe I could turn this into a career.
Mm.
30 years later, I've been named one of the top 5 speakers in the world. I'm the recipient of the highest award in the speaking industry, the Cavett Award. I've been inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame. I've been on television, radio. I've made millions and millions of dollars. I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you that I could have panicked, but
Yeah.
I did not panic. And I had to think my way through it. And you can do the same wherever you are. If you're struggling, if it's a tough time, don't panic, sit and think.
Yeah.
Some ladies some years ago, there was a government shutdown. and they were broke. Because they,
Mhm.
government. I live in D.C., so government people. This is a government city. Most of the people in this city work in the government, and
Yes.
it was a known fact that everybody would tell you when you're growing up, go to school, get a good education, so you can get you a good government job, because they never go out of business. Well,
Nice.
we now know they do go out of business. Okay, but people, here's the standard operating procedure for people who have government jobs. They will live up to they'll spend every penny because they know in 2 weeks another check's coming through. It's like clockwork. You can depend on it until you can't. Well, anyway, these two ladies did like the other government workers. They spent all their money, and then it shut down, and the shutdown was extended and long. But they had a gift. They could make pies. Their
Mm.
mama taught them how to make pies. And they started making these really good pumpkin pies and sweet potato pies and apple pies. And people said they're really good. And they started selling them to their neighbors who were still working at corporate places, or they sold them, and they started putting them online. They did so well that when the government opened up, they said, we don't need the job no more. We make
Mm.
twice as much money selling pies as we made at our government job. I'm saying to you, I'm a theologian. I have a degree, a master's degree in theology. I have a doctorate in theology. In the theological scriptures, there's a story of a guy named Moses, and Moses was at the Red Sea, and he said, "What do I do now? The Pharaoh and the folks are coming to kill us. What do I do?" And he cried out to God, and God said, "What's in your hand?" He said, "I got nothing but this staff in my hand." He said, "Use what's in your hand." He tapped the water opened, they went through the water, they escaped the enemy, and the enemy got drowned trying to get after him. Use what's in your hand. What do you got that you can use? What
Mm.
skill do you have that you can use? What ability can you organize? Can you clean well? Are you well organized? Can you help people who are not? Can you cook? Is there somebody who you could cook their dinners for them and they'd be prepared for them? You know, think about what's in your hand. What
Nice.
else is another theological story is a lady here. She was broke. Her sons were going to be taken as servants, and she went to the prophet and said, "Hey, look, I might as well die." He said, "Why do you say that?" "Because I got nothing. They're gonna take my sons because my husband died and had debts." He said to her, "What's in your home?" She said, "All I got is some oil." He said, "Sell the oil." She started selling the oil and God blessed her and said, "Bring lots of pots and pans and borrow from the neighbors. It's going to keep going as long as you've got something to put it in." She was able to have enough money from selling the oil to pay off the debt, save her sons, and to create some wealth. What's in your
Yeah.
hand? What's in your
What?
home? That's what I want you to think about. So that's what I say to people. Don't panic. Think. Think your way through this. And one more point. Don't let your pride poison your prosperity.
Mm.
You might have to drive Uber. You might have to do Uber Eats or one of the food service. It's okay. It's legal and moral. Let me tell you, if I lost everything,
Mm-hmm.
I'd drive Uber till I could get myself or to get me through till I can get to my next book or my next opportunity.
It's funny that you think about that. I have a plan too for if that ever happened. What?
Right.
Final question, Dr.
Sure.
Jolly.
Yeah.
Someone listening today could take only one message from Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. What would you want it
Mhm.
to be?
Oh, thank you for what a great question. The one message is you can do this.
Mm,
Just like Mary Ellen Pleasant, she only made $6,000,
yeah,
but she lived below her means. His one message is be disciplined.
yeah.
Live below your means. I got a formula in the book that is profound. And it's a formula that I do with every dollar that I make.
Okay.
I die the dime. I give a dime
One dime.
to one dime. The second dime, I save a dime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I invest a dime. And I live on 70% of what I make. And I have taught my children to do that. My son's an attorney. One day he woke up in California. He was out there doing business and he realized that his law license had to be renewed. And he didn't have much money because he's doing contract law. And he said, oh my gosh, I got to pay it today. And he thought for a moment, oh, I have been automatic savings for the last few years. I wonder if I got some money in my automatic savings account. He had more than enough money in the savings account to pay his law because he had tied a dime, save a dime, invest a dime.
Beautiful. That's a
Yep.
great way for us to wrap up. Now, you have one perfect specific way for people to get the book, and
Yes.
that's for them to come over to Rich is Good.
Rich is good, wealthyisbetter.com. Rich is good, wealthyisbetter.com. Now,
Okay.
you can look at all the other options and it'll very well be in other places, but that way you can get the autographed
Okay.
copy of the book. Rich is good, wealthyisbetter.com.
And if people want to connect with you on social media, are you on LinkedIn? Where are
I'm
you?
at every kind of social media. Go to first of all, the website is winwithwillie.com. Winwithwillie.com.
I want to
Then
say
I'm at
Willie is
WILLIE. Okay,
that's right.
winwithwillie.com. Then
Okay.
it's Willie Jolley on the real Willie Jolley on Instagram, Willie Jolley on Facebook,
Okay.
Willie Jolley on LinkedIn, Willie Jolley on TikTok. I am all of the places. And I encourage everybody to do one more thing. Go to
Yeah.
winwithwillie.com, but also go to wjwow.com. wjwow.com. Sign up for my daily 1-minute motivational messages I send out.
Okay.
Absolutely free globally. Every day, Monday through Friday, I send out a 1-minute motivational message that has helped people become wealthy. And you can get that free. You can also hear it on syndicated radio in 49 markets. But if you're not in one of the markets where it's airing, you can hear it daily or get it daily in your inbox. wjwow.com. Just sign up and you'll get one free. Is that
Beautiful.
good or is it good? Jane,
So
is that
good.
good or is it good?
Are a force to be reckoned with, sir. I appreciate you. I saw you at my very first National Speakers Association conference. You were up on the stage singing
Yes.
national anthem, and I was so moved by you. And we have known each other ever since then. That was over 35 years ago, I
Yeah,
want to.
that's about 35 years ago. You're right.
Yeah, just really, I appreciate the wisdom that you're sharing with our listeners. And we're going to wrap it up and say, with that, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help scaling your speaking business, head over to speakerlauncher.com and chat with us.